Ahoy folks, Craigo here for Pure Xbox. Recently I was invited to play Game Science's upcoming action RPG, Black Myth: Wukong. I managed to get all the way to the end of a 2-hour hands-on demo with the game, so here are my thoughts. The footage you'll be watching is B-roll supplied by Game Science, so enjoy. For most, Summer Game Fest came to a close once Playdays wrapped on Monday, but not for us. Game Science, the talented developers responsible for the upcoming action RPG Black Myth: Wukong, found time for Pure Xbox the following day, and we're so glad they did because the game is phenomenal.
He's real!
Say what you like about Summer Game Fest's opening show, but there's no denying that when the Black Myth: Wukong trailer dropped, the air left the YouTube theater, and goosebumps were felt by many. So, you can only imagine the anticipation we felt whilst descending to the top floor suite of the Proper Hotel in downtown LA for a private 2-hour hands-on preview of the game.
You see that hotel over there? That is a proper hotel, that is.
For those who didn't know this already, Black Myth: Wukong is inspired by the 16th century Chinese novel Journey to the West, considered one of East Asia's most popular literary works. It's not the first time the video game industry has been inspired by the shape-shifting Monkey King's son Wukong, most notably Ninja Theory's favorable 2010 enslaved Odyssey to the West. Our preview began by panning down on an extremely detailed peach. You could even see its individual fuzzies, chilling on the forest floor. Before we knew it, the peach revealed itself to be our shifty protagonist, Wukong. It took just a few seconds to acknowledge that Black Myth: Wukong is an Unreal Engine 5 game, so for the next 1 hour and 59 minutes, we knew we'd be in for a visual feast for the eyes. The demo tasked Wukong with scaling the Black Wind Mountain, an early chapter of the game and is a location familiar to those who know the source material. Our experience with Souls-like games, which Black Myth: Wukong isn't, but kinda is, more on this later, is that each location is a character unto itself. This is just as important, if not more so, than the charming Yao Guai that inhabit them. There were 3 locations we pilgrimaged through during our time with the game. The first was a rich greenwood where fallen leaves dance atop reclaimed temple ruins as you pummel wolf-like beasts with Wukong's trusty staff. The second housed several larger temples, swampy marshlands, and boss encounters including a massive white wolf Yao Guai with glowing red eyes, elevating the whole experience to spectacular levels. The third was the summit of Blackwind Mountain at sunset. Here we were faced with a gigantic fire-wielding black bear. I'm not kidding when I say that my heart was pounding so hard I could feel it in my neck as the scene was set for this closing confrontation. It's fair to say that Black Myth: Wukong goes full bombast on its set-piece locations and doesn't hold back on the thrills either. Our main weapon throughout the game is Wukong's Longstaff, an agile and quick-hitting pole capable of swatting demons 20-odd times in a single combo. Wukong is a nimble protagonist, opting for speedy chain attacks to best his foes, and dodges to avoid enemy assaults. There is no blocking system in Black Myth. Instead, it focuses on perfectly timed dodges to evade incoming blows. Technically, you can block with LB, which orders Wukong to spin his staff, but this seemed to only deflect certain projectile attacks like arrows. If a physical blow were to head his way, he'd have to dodge, which you kind of get used to fairly quickly. We noted the perfect timing window to be rather generous, which almost balanced the limited defensive options. You can spam X for your fast-hitting combo, or hold Y for a heavy attack. These are both at the cost of stamina, and I could say more, but you know, this is pretty straightforward stuff. Things get a bit more interesting where Wukong's stances are concerned, as they alter his moveset. During our demo, we managed to sample 2 of the 3 stances on offer. We began in Smash Stance, a quick combination of moves that reward you for being aggressive by building up a focus meter to pull off heavy attacks. The second stance was made available to us once Wukong reached level 5. We'd like to think of the Pillar Stance as the antagonizing cheeky shit moveset. In Pillar Stance, Wukong sits atop his staff. If you're able to hold this position and build your focus meter, the staff gets longer and longer and longer. This goads his enemies into range before unleashing a mega ground slam assault, practically one-tapping anyone caught under his staff. Pillar was our favorite stance. We found ourselves giggling as we squared up to foes perched safely atop our 20-foot tall longstaff like some sort of immovable heckling arse hat. The third moveset is Thrust Stance. It was still quite far out of reach when our time with the game came to a close, only becoming available if we hit level 20. I suppose you can blame this on how long we sat on our black iron pillar like the brave little monkey we are. Some final notes on combat are the spells and shape-shifting abilities on offer in Black Myth: Wukong. Each offers a wide range of strategic options to control the battlefield in your favor. By progressing through the story or by beating specific enemies, Wukong can learn spells, like the aptly named Immobilize spell, which when cast consumes mana to freeze an enemy in place for a limited amount of time, opening them up for a barrage of bonks. There's no definite number of spells we're likely to see in the game yet, but there should be a fair few. Wukong, of course, is known for his shape-shifting ability. In Black Myth, he uses these transformative skills to replicate certain special enemy Yaoguai. In this demo, once we managed to best a flame-wielding daddy of a mini-boss, Wukong could adopt their physical form, weapon, and powerful attack patterns for a limited time, being able to shift into Yaoguai whenever things got spicy, or when we fancied capitalizing on an immobilized foe, varied the combat and elevated the whole experience. At first glance, you'd be forgiven for thinking Black Myth: Wukong was a Souls-like game. There are a lot of similarities to Dark Souls. Vanquish an enemy, gain willpower, kinda like Souls. Need to replenish your health? Drink from your gourd, kinda like flasks. You get the idea, right? Black Myth: Wukong draws a lot from the genre, but in actuality is more comparable to an action RPG. Game Science opted for a more traditional skill tree, instead of tying character abilities to weapons and armor. Stances are unlocked by reaching levels and enhanced by spending earnable sparks on foundation skills or stance upgrades. Also, rather than punish the player for dying, it encourages strength and power with an awesome amount of named boss fights. Black Myth definitely feels easier than your traditional Souls-like, but strikes a solid balance between that and an action RPG. Now, there's plenty more we'd love to say about Black Myth: Wukong, but considering the game is still in active development and subject to change, we'd prefer to wait until its full release before definitively expressing how we feel. And before you ask, whilst we shared a room with a handful of developers and PR for Game Science, we were unable to ask about their recent decision to delay Black Myth: Wukong for Xbox Series X and S. We can understand many of our readers and listeners will be disappointed by this. We are too. But we wanted to respect our Read of the Room and celebrate how exciting the game is to play instead. We hope the delay isn't too long, because if our 2-hour session is indicative of what the whole experience is like, this could potentially be in the running for Game of the Year. It's seriously that good. Are you looking forward to Black Myth: Wukong on Xbox? Let us know in the comments. All that's left to say is bye-bye for now. Cheerio!